Imagine going from a tough start to becoming a famous NFL player. That's DeSean Jackson's incredible story. Today, we're talking about how DeSean Jackson went from a difficult past where he was accused of being in a gang called the Crips to becoming a big NFL star. We'll share some exciting parts of his journey in this video. Stick around because we're going to share the amazing story of how DeSean changed his life. It's a story that'll surprise you and show you that tough times don't have to hold you back. Back in 2014, DeSean Jackson was cut by the Philadelphia Eagles 40 minutes after an article on NJ.com regarding the wide receiver's rumored connections to gangs came out. The initial idea was that Jackson was cut by the team in reaction to the gang charges because of when the announcement was made. However, it became evident after a few days that it was not the whole story. First off, Jackson's ties to gangs have been known to the Eagles for years, according to Jeff McClain of the Philadelphia Inquirer. Jackson wasn't charged with any crimes in the article. It said he was friends with a gang member who was cleared of a murder in 2010. It has nothing to do with Jackson breaking any laws. It has to do with his alleged links with gang members. And from what McClain said, the Eagles already knew all about that. Before dismissing Jackson, the Eagles tried to trade him for several weeks. They would cut him for the same reasons that they would trade him. So what are those reasons? After the arrest and conviction of New England Patriots tight end Aaron Hernandez for first-degree murder, NFL teams were forced to reconsider the level to which they needed to track their players off the field. The 6-year veteran Jackson was seen by Eagles executives as a possible disgrace to the team and a negative influence in the locker room. Jackson appeared to be a bother off the field and a bad role model for the younger players in terms of things like work ethic. When 14-year-old Taburi Watson showed a rival gang sign to two men while riding his bicycle in South Los Angeles on December 29, 2010, DeSean Jackson was well away from the scene of the crime. The teenager made a lewd gesture, and the men, who were allegedly members of the Crips, responded by shooting him several times, according to the police. Watson was pronounced dead at the scene by paramedics. Despite this, Jackson was involved with Theron Shakir, one of the two men accused of the killing. Shakir and Mark Spence, the other defendant, are alleged members of the Crips. On top of that, Jackson's label Jackpot Records issued records by rapper Shakir, also going by the name T-Ron. The two were close enough to each other that they often appeared in photos together, including some that Jackson shared on Instagram while Shakir was in jail before the teen's execution trial. Based on clear reports that Jackson may have been aware of Shakir's whereabouts the night of Watson's murder, LAPD investigator Eric Crossan claimed to have done a phone interview with Jackson in late 2011. Although Crossan didn't want to talk about the details of that conversation, he did describe Jackson as cooperative at the time. Meanwhile, Crossan told NJ.com that he called the Eagles in early 2011, even before he talked to Jackson, just to let them know about Jackson's potential connection to a murderer. He said that he had never heard back from the team. Jackson agreed to a 5-year, $48.5 million contract extension with the Eagles the next year. The troubling connections, according to at least one person close to Jackson, started around the time his father Bill was given a pancreatic cancer diagnosis in the middle of the 2000s. Less than a year after the rising NFL player was interviewed by authorities regarding his ties with Shakir, Detective Crossan's desk was once again graced with Jackson's name. This time, Jackson's name came up during an inquiry into a murder that happened in 2012 outside of South Los Angeles shop that was hosting a party and was connected to a gang. A member of Jackson's family either owned or leased the building, according to the police. Crossan told NJ.com that during the building's investigation, detectives found several records that belonged to Jackson, like credit card receipts, a car title, and a New Jersey arms permit. Crossan said that after the finding of the documents, he tried many times to get in touch with Jackson over phone calls but was never successful in reaching the wide receiver. Jackson was never thought to be a suspect in the crime, according to Crossan. Crossan stated that although Jackson's name has surfaced in connection with two gang-related killings involving Crips, authorities have no solid evidence that Jackson is a part of the gang, which formed in the late 1960s and is thought to have 35,000 members across the nation. However, according to Crossan, Jackson often flashes Crip gang signs in pictures posted on social media and even on TV while watching the NFL game. Authorities have taken notice of Jackson's music label Jackpot Records, even down to its name. According to Crossan, during Jackson's questioning for the Watson's murder inquiry, police brought it up to him. Police thought that the two C's in Jackpot were important. It's not cool for Crips to put a C next to a K since, in gang terms, that means Crip killer. According to Crossan, Jackson explained the spelling, stating that Jackpot's online domain name was taken. Jackson is a three-time Pro Bowl player who has been involved in multiple charities since signing the Eagles in 2008. He's also been a leading member of the Philadelphia community. He has been especially active in the fight against bullying of youths. When Jackson went to Poly High during NFL bye weeks, according to Lara, his former high school coach and current head coach at Warren High School in Downey, California, the wide receiver was nothing but cordial. Lara continued, quote, Jackson has even agreed to visit Warren with his anti-bullying message. Jackson's supporters claim that he acted as a model citizen despite his ties with alleged gang members and the police's desire to speak with him over two murders. However, NJ.com discovered a previously unreported arrest that took place in September 2009 through court records. Jackson's car was stopped for having wrongly tinted windows, according to the police, and during the stop they found marijuana inside the car. According to court papers, Jackson was held for carrying marijuana while driving a car, breaking the peace and being in a car with things in the way of the driver's view. As part of the plea agreement, Jackson admitted guilty to a charge of breaking the peace in April 2010, and the charges regarding marijuana and illegally tinted windows were withdrawn. Yet, other people believe Jackson was always destined for the sports leagues despite all of this. Bill Jackson, his father, was his biggest fan and would listen to him talk about how good his boys were at sports, especially DeSean. In 2008, Bill told the San Francisco Chronicle that Sean has a heart and will succeed in the National Football League. They'll have to play against him if they don't pick him, even though they can look at his size. The teams that don't take him are going to be up against him no matter what round he goes. Not a single NFL team will argue that keeping Jackson controlled is a major issue less than 2 years later. He's a potential highlight reel and his family's full of him. Brian Jackson started a career in film and television production after his playing days ended. He has been recording his younger brother's life and sports achievements for years. He's now arranging hundreds of hours of video for a documentary that explores an NFL player's personal life. In 2014, Jackson was released by Philadelphia and went on to play for Tampa Bay, LA, Las Vegas, Baltimore, as well as Washington. Jackson signed a one-day deal with the Eagles on Friday, marking his official 15-year NFL retirement. On Sunday, he will lead the club properly against the San Francisco 49ers. That's the story of how DeSean Jackson went from a tough past to becoming a big NFL star. Life can be tricky, and his journey shows how things can change in surprising ways. Thanks for watching. Life can be full of twists, right? See you next time for more interesting stories. Take care.